Hello and sorry about that. Hello and welcome to Freedom Through Astrology, where we're giving you the keys. And my camera's still messed up and we can't get the Zoom thing to work, so why bother? It's freedomthroughastrology.com. I'm your astrologer. My name is Donald Patak. My contact information, standard YouTube copyright. And the keys to the reading, because I do read astrology differently. Part one, I read constellation-based astrology, sometimes called true sidereal. What does that mean? It's astrology by the visible sky. I'm reading astrology as an astronomer would. Tropical astrology fixes the signs to seasons where they were well over 2,000 years ago. The sky has changed, so I'm following those changes. Secondly, when you look at the zodiac belt and you're using the visible sky, there is an additional sign. There are not 12 signs, there are actually 13. Between Scorpio and Sagittarius, we have the constellation of Ophiuchus. The symbol is of an individual holding a snake by the head and the tail. In ancient times, a snake symbolized knowledge. So holding it by the head and tail, controlling knowledge or using knowledge for the purpose of healing is the story. So it's the sign of the wounded healer. And I also use the natural size of the constellations because Mother Nature, in her wisdom, made them all different sizes. Virgo is just under 50 degrees. Libra, which is where we are right now, is less than 25. The constellations are all different sizes. I respect that. And following Athens Shementi's teachings, I use astrological midpoints, or astronomical midpoints is what that should be. What does that mean? The IAU boundaries are arbitrarily drawn. And if you zoom in on the border of Scorpio and Ophiuchus, you will actually find stars from the constellation of Scorpio in the border, over the border of Ophiuchus. Shouldn't be that way. So what Athens Shementi did was he looked at the zodiac belt, last bright stars of constellation Scorpio, first bright stars of the constellation Ophiuchus in the zodiac belt, and he figured out what's halfway between them. And he did that with all the other constellations. So my constellation sizes are more natural and the midpoints are more fair, I think. It seems to be more accurate as well in my experience. Secondly, keys to the reading part two, I interpret using evolutionary astrology. Yes, you are fated to face these transits. However, there are lessons to learn and you have freedom of choice. You can choose to learn the lesson or you can choose to learn something else. You decide how you want to work with these opportunities. So there's that. This is the weekly lessons. So these are universal lessons for everyone on the planet. So do have some compassion on your fellow Earth travelers. Dates and times are based on the Eastern U.S. time zone because I live outside of Buffalo, New York. I am, operating within 1 degree of exact. It makes it a little bit easier to work with because if I'm overwhelmed, you're lost. And last but not least, I have been asked this. I use Capricorn by Prometheus. And these are the weekly transits for the week of November 10th through 16th, 2025. We are now in Libra season. The sun is in Libra. The moon is actually fairly steady this week. Begins in Gemini, jumps into Cancer, and then spends most of the week in Leo and ends in Virgo. So the moon is actually fairly steady. And we do have the last quarter moon in Leo on Veterans Day, November 11th, Armistice Day, whatever you want to call it, right before midnight. So very, very late at night that they'll be happening. We do have a sign change this week. Again, Venus enters her home sign of Libra, so developing relationships, and we'll talk about that. Our two active inner planets this week, sometimes there's more, sometimes there's less, but it's Mercury and the Sun this week, learning and your core identity. And with the outer planets, it's Jupiter and Uranus are active. And retrograde. Oh boy, the retrograde parade is growing. Mercury is finishing up going retrograde at the beginning of the week, and Jupiter is joining in as well. In addition, we have Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Chiron retrograde as well. So quite the little parade there. And all retrograde means is a time of reflection and internal learning. So rather than being more public, it's private. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Get my doodle tool ready. And anything above this dotted line, let me change the color here. Anything above this dotted line is from last week. So you can see, we'll start with the moon here. The moon begins in Gemini. Early on Monday after or Monday morning, actually later Monday morning, it does enter Cancer. And then in the afternoon on Tuesday, it enters Leo. Right there on Wednesday is when we get the last quarter. And you can see it's most of the week. The moon does spend most of the week in Leo. And then we get the incredibly longer Virgo transit, which means next week we're going to have a lot of lunar energy to work with. But for this week, lunar energy is fairly stable. Let me see if I can. There we go. So there we go with that. And for our transits, you can see we do have Mercury here, and then we have that retrograde. That's why I say Mercury is a little bit more active this week. It's dealing with that retrograde, and then it's conjunct Mars and that sextile to Pluto. So this is reflecting on your learning and communication, and it's in Scorpio. Are you going deep? Just to keep it simple. Secondly, I said we do have the sun. Sun is trining Jupiter and Saturn, and right here we have Jupiter trining Saturday, so Jupiter and Saturn in a trine. So at the end of the week, actually late Sunday, we're going, and beginning next week, we're going to have a Sun, Jupiter, Saturn grand trine to deal with. So that's going to be very powerful in and of itself. And let me just clear out all the drawings. And for this week, as you can see, I mean, the moon is actually fairly steady. The beginning of the week is fairly calm, and we even kind of get a breather Thursday, Friday, and into Saturday. No new transits outside of the lunar change. And then the steamroller begins. And look for Sunday energetically to be very, very just crescendo, and a fast crescendo. We've got a lot happening with the planets, the sun, Mercury, and Venus, in addition to Venus changing sign into Libra. So look at the intense day of the week, really this week, to be Sunday. And it's going to be a quick crescendo. And just a heads up, next week is going to be very, very active and very, very busy. So we do have a relatively calmer week this week. Do take the opportunity. And let us begin. So this is one of our long outer transits. Uranus and Taurus sextiling sextiling Neptune in Pisces. So sorry, my brain, it's a Monday. Uranus and Taurus, being at peace with who you are, and you're learning to find that inner strength as well. It's your individuality, and sextile is creating an interest in what spirituality. So, how is your individuality and being at peace with your individuality and who you are, creating an interest in your own spiritual path? As what I'm going to read this right now. That's what's really speaking to me the more I look at this. And let's remember Neptune in Pisces. I mean, a major lesson here: just don't do something. Be there with your spiritual self, and learn and connect on that level as well. Because in one way, as you learn who you really are and you find that peace, it does connect you more to your spiritual side and your spiritual self. But that spiritual self can also, in a way, help inform you about who you really are. The shadow here is you being someone who you are not, and you're trying to escape the pain. And when I say someone you are not, you can be that eccentric person who does stuff to get a reaction from people, or that sellout who's just trying to fit in. And in that sextile, it's a nervousness, it's kind of a tense energy in a way. And in Neptune is living in a fantasy, or you're trying to numb and escape the pain. So you being someone that you are not just leads to something else. Oh, hold on a second. I'm getting too many notifications on my phone. From back from October, this will be ending next month. These will both be ending next month. We have Jupiter trining Saturn, and Jupiter is going to be moving retrograde. So this is going to be a lot of internal work. So beginning at the right of the week. So I'm just going to read this as it is, as a time of reflection. So Jupiter is finding the opportunity to learn. And how is this supporting your spiritual maturity? Because Pisces does represent the spiritual self, and Saturn is you maturing and you gaining your integrity, having an honest self, finding honest value and honest self-worth. So how are you taking the opportunity to learn, and how is that helping to support trines or support your spiritual growth, your spiritual development? The shadow here is a crisis in confidence, in whether it's overconfident or underconfident. And how is that undermining your spiritual growth? And how is that turning you, and could be turning you into a bit of a control freak? Almost I want to say a religious zealot. You think you know something, so you try to lord it over other people and impose it on other people as a rule. So how is that happening? Or how are you also giving away your power and losing the opportunity to grow and mature? End of the week from last week, it'll be ending Monday. Mercury will be fully retrograde by the end of Monday. So remember, retrograde is a time of reflection. So Mercury on your learning and communication in Scorpio. Are you digging deeper? Are you pulling back the veil and seeing what's behind the curtain? Are you digging into the taboo topics or the occult? And all occult means is hidden or the secret. Are you uncovering your deeper truths? And are you learning about them? The shadow here is that know-it-all or can't learn it all. And instead of, hold on a second, and you're using knowledge to hurt, literally you're using knowledge to hurt yourself, or you're trying to deny the truth and lie about it, and that can actually be very deeply wounding. Scorpio, can be very deeply wounding that way. So yeah, be careful of hurting yourself with truths you may not be ready to accept, or lying to yourself about who you are. That's another thing I had written down in my notes. And also from Saturday, the moon enters Gemini. Emotionally, you're up and ready you're curious. Is mental, emotionally, you're ready to learn something. It's just rapid fire energy here, and opening up to opportunities for curiosity and letting go of old knowledge and follow what piques your interests. What's got you curious right now? Go with it. The opportunity is there. The shadow here is shutting yourself down to new insights or distracting yourself. Also, miscommunication can lead to misunderstanding. And here we go with Monday. Monday, Jupiter turns station retrograde. And Jupiter is about opportunity, gaining self-confidence. So are you taking the opportunity to learn, and do you have the confidence to learn? And have you been paying attention to the opportunities and possibilities that have been presented to you to learn? And are you willing to take the risks to do what you need to do to succeed? And the shadow here is that crisis of confidence, either overconfident or underconfident. Either you think you know it all or you can't learn it all. But that's pointless, mindless daydreaming, self-aggrandizement that doesn't even support your abilities and the opportunities that are being presented to you. It undermines your ability to learn and to grow. And you're just missing the moment. You're caught up in daydreaming and idle daydreaming about how great you are, or just literally talking yourself out of how you can't learn. Let that go. Moon on Monday also enters Cancer. Time for a little emotional self-care. This is Monday. I tell you, today was a drag at school, honestly. So take a little time to rest and nurture yourself. Open up to healers and those who can help you release and let go of wounds. You know, there are people who, yeah, this is a time of self-care, emotional self-care. So do that. The shadow here is being moody, whining, feeling sorry for yourself, or being defensive. And this can lead to you feeling lonely and isolated, possibly withdrawn. And remember, Cancer is the crab, it has claws. It's possible for you to take swipes at people here. Not a good idea. On Tuesday, Mercury retrograde will be conjunct Mars in Scorpio. Do you got the courage? Do you have the courage to pull back that veil? Because Mars is about having courage and assertiveness. And do you, are you taking those necessary risks? I mean, do you have that courage to learn these deeper topics and explore these deeper topics and to dig into what we're going to call it, the forbidden knowledge? Are you doing that? Do you have the strength to challenge your own knowledge and beliefs with more difficult and deep information? Or in the shadow, are you settling for shallow and superficial? And falling into fear, becoming rigid and defensive, and becoming self-absorbed and paranoid even, and suspicious, I don't want to say conspiracy theories because I do like conspiracy theories, but these are the ones that can't be supported in a way. This is just paranoia. This is just mental paranoia in my book. And this is Tuesday afternoon. The moon enters Leo. Time to stand up and be seen and speak up for yourself. Appreciated. Let go of the apprehensions you can have about standing up and also about having fun. Leo likes to have fun emotionally. Find something you enjoy to do. It can be fulfilling and do it out in front of other people. This isn't something you're doing privately. This is something more public. Getting up, going out and doing the things that you enjoy in life. The shadow here is playing up to others' expectations, and that can have you feel playing an empty and unfulfilling role, settling for style over substance, and really you can feel drained on this. And we do have the last quarter moon in Leo, and that is the moon in Leo. Whoops. This is a touchy mouse. No. I need a new mouse. The moon in Leo squares are challenges, the sun in Libra. So how is what you're having fun, you're getting go up, being seen. How is this strengthening your ability to see yourself from different points of view? Because the sun in Libra is learning to look at yourself from different perspectives. And squares are the intention of a square is to strengthen you. It's a challenge whose intention is to strengthen you and help you become stronger. So emotionally, as you're getting up and you're doing these things, how is this helping strengthen your ability to see yourself from different points of view? Maybe you're finding, hey, you know what? Before I didn't like mystery novels. Now I do. Ooh, wow, that's interesting. Or you're finding that you enjoy things, things that you didn't enjoy before, or that you're able to understand things about yourself from a different point of view. The shadow here, let's see. Yeah. And in doing this, you may find common ground with others, and you may meet new people, make new friends. Who knows? But the shadow here is playing up that false self, can come across as insincere, lazy, and avoiding conflict can seem childish and result in a loss of respect from others, and maybe you losing respect for yourself. Here, a square is a crushing burden. So you being someone that you're not can make you come across as the sun in Libra can be indecisive, wishy-washy. Excuse me. And instead of strengthening you, it weakens you. It's a crushing burden. And literally, this is you feeling more fake. Sorry, just getting over another cold. Back teaching and around children, that's what happens. Wednesday, you get a break. Thursday, you get another break. We have those transits that will be ending. Friday, the moon enters Virgo. You're ready to stand up and look at yourself and say, how do I need to improve and get better? So How can you improve your emotional skills, your emotional intelligence, and let go of the old ways of being and opening up to people who can help you to change and turning to people who can help you to change. And the moon will just be here for the rest of the weekend into early next week. The shadow here is be careful of unrealistic expectations and the worry and the stress and the burden that that can create. And it's possible to become self-critical and very critical of others and be a nitpick. You know, the old cliche, of pulling the log out of your own eye before you pick the speck of dust out of your brother's eye. Well, here, this unrealistic perfectionist attitude, and you're trying to hold yourself and others up to what's unrealistic. You got that log jammed in your own eye. Pull it out and realize, hey, you know what? I'm only going to get this much better, so just be happy with it. Saturday, take a breath. Why? Because Sunday is going to be crazy busy. First of all, we have the sun trining Jupiter in Gemini. So the sun is really the trigger of this grand trine that we're going to be experiencing. And like I say, the sun in Libra is your sun is yourself, your core identity. You're learning to see it from different perspectives. And how is this helping support your opportunity to learn and you learn new information? How is this also helping you take the opportunity to communicate? Are you communicating and being able to do that? And we'll lose that out. So be open to how examining yourself from other perspectives can help support the opportunity to grow and learn and also share. Are you taking those opportunities? And being able to embrace different views on yourself can help develop your self-confidence. And remember, as you're learning these things, this is Jupiter retrograde. This is inner work. First you build it up on the inside, and then it's able to manifest on the outside. So right now, as you're seeing these things, you're now saying, this is what I need to learn inside and change inside before I can move forward in life. So this is actually a time of growth and change, but the growth and change is going to be internal. The shadow here is being indecisive, falling for a false self-image, wishy-washy. And Charlie Brown comes to mind, but being very wishy-washy, and this can fuel a crisis of confidence and lead to lack of self-knowledge and losing the ability to learn, losing the ability to change. And instead of you moving on, you become less of who you really are. And we also now have the sun trining Saturn in Pisces. So as you're seeing yourself from different perspectives, this is supporting your spiritual maturity. We did talk about that earlier. Saturn in Pisces, spiritual maturity. So as you're understanding yourself, you're able to grow spiritually. And this, again, retrograde, are you growing spiritually? Are you taking those steps that you need to mature and develop in that way? I'm more liking that Saturn in Pisces as being spiritual maturity. So, and also you're growing in the ability to be present, and seeing different perspectives can also support your integrity and your character. Being able to step out of your own shoes and see yourself as others see you, how is that helping you to grow spiritually? Because that can actually be a big impact. The shadow here is being indecisive about who you are can fuel fear and despair and a desire to escape, and blind to who you are can fuel pessimism, failure, and also the desire to try to, Saturn can be a control freak, and you can really try to, freeze yourself or try to control things about yourself that really need more freedom or need to be more fluid. And, try to stop a river with your hands. Not going to happen. So what we have here and I've got this drawn in a heavy blue line here, we do have that grand trine. And what is that meaning here? Let me get my doodle tool here. Libra is about being able to see things from different perspectives. This is another air sign. Gemini is an air sign. And how are you, excuse me. and how you're able to, excuse me, let me clear my throat here for a second. Being able to see things from different perspectives. How is this helping you open your mind to new information, ideas? And how are those two things supporting spirituality and a higher sense of vision and maybe a higher sense of purpose? That's the ideal, is that this you're seeing yourself from a different perspective, opens your mind, and both of those fuel that spiritual growth. The shadow here is, instead of that growing, that growing leads to indecisiveness, uh, mental exercise. This indecisiveness between just fuels and leads to an exercise in, mental. I know the Catholic Catechism. Yeah, I can give you the answers. Doesn't mean I believe them. I just knows 2 + 2 is 4. 4 plus, so what? You know the answers. You don't believe it. It's head knowledge. It's not heart faith. And you're not be able to see things from those different perspectives. And that, excuse me, that leads to a desire to escape, hide, or a desire just to, I'll call it religious fundamentalism, where you're just trying to own and control everything and manage everything, and very a spiritual legalism. And instead of it being a free flowing, and this being free flowing and supporting this this the supporting is actually a very negative experience, and if this indecisiveness, can fuel some sort of rigidity. It sounds kind of weird, but with that, with Libra being indecisive and being closed-minded and not learning, you can, like, I know what I believe. Okay, don't confuse me. Don't give me new information. Don't give me new insights. I want this to be only this way and leave it that way. I don't want to change. And this can fuel getting stuck. So be careful about that, Grand Trine. I'm still going to develop that, and I plan on having a blog post that explores it deeper, hopefully. And Mercury, in a repeat on this sextile to Pluto in Capricorn. And is that deeper knowledge and what you're learning, is that creating an interest in transformation and change? Is what you're looking into and exploring more deeply, is that helping to create an interest in change and growth and development? Also deep healing, and is this deeper perspective helping you to do the work of healing? Because if not, and being moody, mentally defensive is fueling a cynical attitude and deeper wounding, and we have you feeling lonely, isolated, and losing the perspective can have you trapped in a meaningless and empty life. So do take the time, reflect. Is what I'm learning helping me to heal and transform? Because if it's not helping you to heal and transform, it's leading to deeper wounding. And on Sunday, we have Venus entering Libra. And I made a mistake of posting the wrong stuff on the website for this one. So if you looked at the my weekly long blog, what you're about to hear is going to be a little bit different. For some reason, my notes on Virgo, I had my 3x5 cards out of order, and I put Venus in Virgo instead of Venus in Libra. So I do apologize for that. But Venus is about relationships and creativity, and being able to see seeing relationships from a different perspective, and giving people freedom to be who they are. Because Libra can be a sense of freedom, allowing to see people in different ways and giving them that freedom to be that way can support and improve relationships and help you to better understand people, allow people to have their paradoxes, and in doing so you can actually improve your relationships. And the same thing is because Venus is creative, and letting the creative process just be the creative process can help you actually become more creative. But the shadow here is being shallow or superficial, and can undermine and Hold on a second. I need to refresh this. There we go. Yeah, I don't know why that happened. My bad. But being shallow and superficial and indecisive and wishy-washy, that in your relationships, it kind of gets to be draining and empty and unfulfilling. Hold on a second. I'm just going to grab my notes here because something got screwed up on my computer notes. But yeah, yeah, let people be who they are, and that can help you understand them on a more deeper level. And also let people see you as you really are, because that can help them understand you. And in by doing this and letting people see the paradoxes and allowing them to exist can actually deepen and strengthen your relationships and allow people to open up with their hopes and dreams and things like that. And it can actually create a bigger interest. Like I work in a school district. I was talking with the teacher today. I know their name. I know their face. I think they're married and I think they have children. I can't tell you how many. I've met the one, but who is this person to me really? How many of these teachers? I'm a librarian, and for a middle school and a high school, I know a lot of people's names and faces, but do I really know them as people? Some people know some of my interests, but do they really know me? So this is an opportunity to open up to other people and let them see who you are and see these different facets of who you are, but also allowing them to open up about who they really are. And in doing so, you can deepen relationships. Not doing that and uh, just letting things be as they are, and just trying to maintain the status quo. Uh, it's shallow, it's superficial, it's empty, it's meaningless, and you're just walking through situations. You're just walking. I say walking through people, but you're walking through relationships and not knowing them, and it's kind of empty and unfulfilling. Yeah, Venus is an air sign, so yeah, emptiness. Try to stop the wind. There was something else I was going to say. It'll be on the blog post. And for next week, this is kind of also where we're beginning next week. Venus in Libra, trining the North Node in Aquarius. So being able to understand and see people or being creative from a different and understanding it from different perspectives. How does this support the North Node, your destiny and purpose in life? And in Aquarius is making it authentic to you. Yeah, because like for example, my North Node is in Pisces. My spiritual journey and how I fulfill that is going to look different from somebody else's who's in Pisces. My authentic spiritual journey is going to be very different from other people's. So how is being with other people and helping and seeing them as different and helping and me sharing who I really am and letting people see the different perspectives and different facets of who I am, the idiosyncrasies and all those things. How is that helping support my life's purpose? And how is that helping? How's working with them helping me become more authentic in my life's purpose and my life's mission? Because the shadow here is that shallow, superficial relationships. It's instead of supporting my authentic growth and becoming more of fulfilling that purpose, it's denying that purpose or trying to make what I'm doing look like what other people are doing. And instead of it building and supporting, it's a slippery slide downhill into emptiness and meaninglessness. And what else do I have here? And it's just undermining achievement, leads to irresponsible reactions to others and to life's purpose, and it really can feel unfulfilling. Relationships become unfulfilling, and your life's purpose becomes empty and meaningless. And like, this is just the beginning of next week. So if you like this, do follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. That's the well-known social media. I'm also on the digital soul space. These companies here are making billions of dollars off your data and not sharing much, if any, of it with you. Digital soul space is hosted on mighty networks, and they say your data is your data. How do you want it used? And I call it this happy and safe place of the internet for spirituality. Troll free zone. I do astrology on there, but there are people who talk crystals. Um, there are a wide variety of spiritual practices. People are talking about Wicca, Nordic, for indigenous shamanism, the various shamanistic traditions, oracle decks, tarot. I mean, it's just an incredible clearinghouse of spirituality and helping you to explore and discover your own, ask questions, people to share what they know. And there is a free version and a paid version. The free version gets you limited access. The paid version gets you access to the entirety of the site. It's a really cool place. And like I say, there's 4 moderators. You got a concern. One of them they'll sit down, look at the situation, and take care of it. I can't remember the last time someone got booted because the trolls know not to go there. It's an incredible experience. Readings and packages. If you want to see how your chart changes, the Quick Six looks at 6 key points of your chart and gets you a firm, solid foundation. In way I read at evolutionary astrology, your birth chart is your birth contract. It's not who you came here to. It's not who you are. It's who you came here to become. So it's not the beginning. It's your end all goal in life, and I can help you understand that and help you find and have a more fulfilling life. So that's one of the charts I read. A second one is a karmic or a past life reading. If you believe in past lives, you have unfulfilled karma that you came here to re-experience and experience it in principle so you can heal it. And I can help you understand what that karma is and how you can heal it and release it in this lifetime. There are people who are one and done. So I tell you how you are holding yourself back in life, and then how you can release it so you can live a fulfilling life. And I do the classic horoscopes, whether it's 1 year, any 12 months in a row, any 3 months in a row, or any 1 month in a row. It could be first of the month to the end of the month, or new moon to new moon. And which kitten is trying to climb on me? Oh, it's ankle biter Mew. Okay, guy, come on. That's your kitten commercial. Sorry, can't hold him up because my camera still doesn't work. So the 1 month, 2 ways of reading it, first to the last, or the new moon to the new moon. The new moon to new moon is my preferred because it is the natural cycle, but people are different, and I respect that. And I do have packages that combine these readings together and add a discount. So if you bought them all individually, it would cost you more, but if you buy the package, you save some money. Thank you. Like this video if you like it. Do follow me on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Jump on the digital soul space. Share this on my website. Sign up for the newsletter. When you go there, you should get a pop-up. All I need is an email address, and you can get it once a week. If you miss that or you closed out on it, on the upper right-hand corner, you'll see subscribe. Click on that. And all I need is that newsletter. You'll see the blog post. You will see services is where you place the orders for your various readings. I give you a recording, and then I give you an hour or more long follow-up session for you to ask questions and seek clarification. Do like, follow, share, sign up for the newsletter. And remember, in the visible sky, your life changes. Have the best week possible. Do take the breaks when you get them because you're going to need them for next week. Thank you very much.